Hello, you've been pulled into the Black Dimension. Kev, Roger, and Donnie here, and we're here to discuss our take on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is a review, and it is chock full of spoilers. So, first off, thanks for joining us here for this broadcast. And if you haven't, um, go below the screen and hit the subscribe button. We definitely want to strive to be your preferred choice in entertainment, news, and discussions on YouTube and on social media. So, yes, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Very interesting to say the least, and didn't have quite the effect that the first film had, and that is for many reasons. So, if Roger or Donnie would like to chime in and um, just kind of respond to what I said as to why this film didn't hit like the first one, then they can go right ahead. So, how y'all doing tonight, fellas?
Doing well, brother. Doing well. And I definitely got to agree with you. The first film there was a phenomenon in black culture and outside of black culture. This film was just a part two. That's that's what
Nigga
it
said
was.
just a
It was
part
a part
two.
two. You got it, Donnie. Go ahead.
Ibombe. What's going on, fellas? I am enjoying. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was cool. I, I, I said it before, and I'll say it again. This movie, the premise of this movie was Killmonger was right. Uh, it, it has some cool parts. It's a black movie, so I'm not going to downplay it too much, but it has some cool parts.
Yeah, yeah, it most certainly did, and we'll discuss some of those cool parts. And I want everyone to understand that when we do this review, even though that we're sitting behind avatars, I can assure you that we are three black men about to tell you what we think of this film. So it is my personal belief, and it is the belief of others, is that that's important. That we get our word out. So, and tell you what we actually think of this film. And let me warn you, uh, some of our opinions might not be the most favorable, but we want to give you as much transparency. So we're going to get into spoilers. But one thing that we did not do, because I didn't want to be the one to just make this decision without the other two guys that run this channel, Donnie and Roger. We didn't discuss the rating. Okay, I'll start with me. I would very well. I mean, for those of you who give reverence to this film, of course, you're gonna go see it at the theater, and that's when we would give you a buy rating. If we liked it enough, we'll tell you to go see it. Definitely spend your money on it. It is well worth it. At least I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to give this film a bootleg. If you have a streaming site that you can see behind a VPN or something like that, we're not condoning illegal behavior. What I'm just saying is I won't be mad at you. I'll say that. Um, for some of the look of the film, the settings, and if you are a fan of the actors on an individual basis, say for instance Angela Bassett, who had a stellar performance as far as I'm concerned in the film, and it was one of the few good things about this film. Then this film is for you. So, but my stance is bootleg, um, just meaning that you can wait till it comes out on streaming, on TV. If you see a guy selling some CDs, I plead the fifth. Okay, what do you
People
got?
still selling CDs? They still selling CDs?
I mean the DVDs. I mean you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Well, you
Bootleg
know what,
CD.
Kim? I got to agree with you. I give it a bootleg, y'all. And yeah, and bootleg just means this is not worth running to the theater to see. you can see it a different way. Wait for it. You got Disney Plus. It'll be on there eventually or whatever. So and the only thing below that is the bomb, which means your life is better off without the movie even being seen. I won't give it a bomb, but it definitely was a bootleg. Okay, because what it was not was a buy. That's for sure. This is not the movie you get up and run to the theater for. You will run into some disappointment. That's 100% for sure. So there's two of us on the bootleg. What do you say, Donnie?
You know what? I'm gonna say bye, but I'm gonna put a caveat to it. You ain't gotta run to the theater like the first day, like I did. I went that Thursday at 6 o'clock. I really wish I waited till about today. uh, Today during the matinee. You know what I mean? When they was offering $5 popcorn and $5 drinks. That's when I wish I went. The movie, I again, I'm gonna say it like this: it's black. I'm not gonna shoot it down too bad. It's black director, mostly black cast. It's black, so I'm gonna give you that. But I do have an element of disappointment to the movie. Like I said, Killmonger was right. There were some story issues with it. So based on that, I don't want to send a message that we'll just go see any fucking thing as long as it's black. But I want them to understand you got to give us what the hell we want, and what we wanted was T'Challa, not little T'Challa, not other T'Challa. We wanted a new T'Challa. But neither here nor there. Let's get into the movie because, like I said, buy it later on.
Yeah,
buy it at a discounted rate.
That man said, buy when it's the most economic for you to do so. Make sure it's a deal.
He's giving it a buy, but he's putting an asterisk by it. To me, that sounds like a bootleg.
All right. Well, let's get some of the most obvious stuff out the way. Since you brought up T'Challa, let's get into one thing that the film did right, but it was also the curse of the film itself. The tribute to Chadwick Boseman was.
By the way, who the hell drew
that? Who drew that?
Yeah, I want to know why Chadwick Boseman looked like he got beat up.
See, he looks a little pissed right there.
he looked a little like he had a little bit of a battle there.
Yeah, you don't think they were going for Regal with this?
Yeah, I think they was going for just put that shit up there.
I think it's just one of those things where you have a budget, and Marvel has some pretty big budgets, but somebody had this idea right at the end. So they got who they could pay for.
They was like, hey, listen, I know you wanted this dude to come out here who's a national artist, but my little cousin said he could do that for $40.
Yeah, they got what they could pay for with this one.
Yeah, but aside from that, this movie carried a lot of emotional weight. It was one thing that was great about the film, but for me, it also kind of cursed the film as well. You have this looming shadow that King T'Challa, the central part and the main part of Black Panther, who the story was built around, all those decades in the comic book, was not present, and it was felt throughout the film that how different things would have been if T'Challa wasn't there. Now, Roger has this argument that I want you to go ahead and explain. Me and you were talking the other night, and you were saying something about how the film was written and how it was put together.
Well, honestly, it was the fact they put Black Panther in the title of this film, to me, is absolutely misleading. This could have been a show on Disney Plus called Wakanda Forever, because you can use it as a story built around Wakanda, or you could have called this Namor and the Seamen, because what this movie was an origin story for Namor, and he was the star of this film. There's no way. Now, I understand that they had to do a few rewrites because Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed, and Lord knows I missed him. especially after I saw this movie. I already missed him beforehand, but after I saw this movie, I really missed him. You know, the unfortunate passing happened, but I could tell there wasn't many rewrites to this story, so he wasn't going to be the star of this film no matter what. Okay,
Mm.
and this film starred Namor, and they explained it as a seaman for right now. They did say he's a mutant, but this was his movie, and it probably should have carried his name. If I would have had an expectation to see a Namor movie, I probably have different feelings than what I had because I went in the theater to see a Black Panther movie, and that's not what they gave me.
And even with that whole Wakanda Forever thing, uh, it was reported originally that there was supposed to be more focus on Wakanda with the scenery and as a city and as a place. That was more to just for me. That was more so captured in the first film than it was in the second. If the second film did anything, it paid more attention to what Roger perceives as his actual lead, and that's another question that is interesting that should be posed by anyone discussing this film. Who is the actual lead? I mean, Letitia Wright. Letitia Wright did a great job, and of course, spoiler warning: she does become the Black Panther. She does become the Black Panther, which has been suspected for a long time. And in a recent interview, an interview I saw from a year ago. I just watched this interview recently. Was Derek Bozeman, Chadwick Boseman's brother, and he even predicted that it was going to be the little sister a year ago. This is something that fans have been speculating on. But once I saw the movie, at least, it just had me like, who is the actual lead of this film? Like who? Of course they were trying to point the finger in Shuri's direction, but it seems as if that every character was just as important as the next. Like Shuri didn't carry any more weight than Okoye, didn't carry any more weight than Queen Ramonda. She definitely didn't carry as much weight as Namor, but is just think about it. Still, the shadow of Chadwick Boseman not being there. I mean, the shadow of King T'Challa. We understand Chadwick Boseman is an actor, but King T'Challa is a fictional character that could have been recast, and it was just the movie is just you had like I at least had this feeling that something was missing when I was watching.
Lord knows I missed T'Challa in this
Well,
Namor movie because this was a
well,
Namor movie to me. I'm just gonna keep it
well,
real with y'all. This was a
the design of this
oh, go ahead,
movie,
Dan.
according to Fox and the reports and everything coming out, is that's what the intent of the movie was. Black Panther, is pretty much the mantle. So, regardless of how we think about it, when we think about the movie, we think of Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther, but essentially Black Panther is the title, right? So the dynamic with this movie was kind of like what they did in Blade 3, how they veered away from, even though the premise is Blade and everything else, they built it to do some world building for Wakanda in order to set spinoffs. So they allegedly they have a Wakanda TV show, they have a Okoye TV show, and a couple of other basically Wakanda spinoffs that they're doing from here.
And my deal is why spread it so thin if you still don't have King T'Challa involved. But they trying to milk that cow dry, ain't they? Or at
Well,
least trying to get something out of it.
well, I look at it as like the comic book universe. When you have the comic book universe, you don't have necessarily uh, T'Challa and then it's done. You have a couple spin-off comics. You have a couple of Elseworlds. They're trying to build an entire platform, which is Disney Plus. So in order for them to build the Marvel side of Disney Plus, you're gonna have a couple of TV shows about unknown characters, or go with what you think you can get away with in order to make money.
Yeah.
That's really all the money grab. So
I get it because we got Agatha Harkness coming, we got Echo coming, then we have these Wakanda spinoffs coming, then we supposedly have What If season 2 is coming, then Loki season 2 coming. So I think that Disney, Marvel, as far as world building and using streaming series to do it, I think they're doing a pretty consistent job with that. I mean, even you even
Mm.
had the recent She-Hulk, which you, let's just put it like this: some things you can't unsee. But let's see. But yeah, let's get back
Well,
to the film. Okay. Let me see if y'all agree with this sentiment right here. Wakanda, just like the citizens of Wakanda, this goes to that Killmonger was right kind of deal. It just came off as a bunch of bitter females and a bunch of weak men that were pushed to the side and to the back. And it's just like that's becoming like a common trope with like Phase 4, and it's one thing that I hope they get out of with Phase 5. Uh, One thing that I did feel after seeing this film though is like my increasing apathy to Disney Marvel. Like this thing, like being a fan of Disney, Marvel, or and just Marvel Cinematic Universe in general, even before, is that one of my fears is that it can't top itself. Like it has done so good to the point where it's not going to be another slate of films as great, or they won't be able to get back to their greatness because I mean they're trying different things that they want to work, but they're not working. And how are they going to get this message?
well, you know what, Kevin, the film just did some things that it just didn't have no business doing. Now I do understand that Shuri becomes Black Panther at some point in the comics. That should have happened in Black Panther 4, not in Black Panther 2.
Hmm.
Okay, way too early. You have to let King T'Challa spread his wings first. Then you bring in somebody else if you're gonna replace them. So you just had stuff that shouldn't have been happening, and the entertainment value just wasn't there in this particular film. With the success of the first film, they really should have concentrated on how to make this film at least somewhat as good as the first film. This film was a letdown in a lot of different ways. It just
Yeah,
was, and
yeah, like,
and Shuri just can't. Well, the actress, what's her name? Leticia Wright.
yeah, Letitia
She
Wright.
just she just doesn't have the screen presence to be an effective Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean,
She, the presence is just not there.
yeah, she did a great job with what she had, but lead, no. And then this movie's also like is played with bad decisions, like story wise. Like from what reports have been coming out lately, Angela Bassett did not like being killed off. She didn't. She protested the decision, and they went with it anyway. Point was made by someone I was watching. Forgot their name. So if they ever happen to listen to this broadcast, you don't be like, "Oh, you copied that from me." I tried to give you credit. Um, uh, one thing that they did say was, damn, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Okay.
uh,
Well, my thing is they had so many directions they could have went in, but what they showed us was directions they should not have went in. I mean, honestly, this was a great story for Namor, and because they did explore um, how he became what he be. They called it a mutant, so how he became a mutant and how his people became different. They became these seamen.
Did
That's
they
the only
call
way
him
they
a
was really
mutant in the
referred to
movie?
in the film.
yes, he called
He
himself a
said he was a
mutant.
mutant. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he was a mutant, but he's the only mutant established at this particular point.
No, no, no,
But
no, no,
the
no,
thing
no, no, no.
is,
That's wrong. That's inaccurate. Let me stop you right there.
Nah,
Miss
there's a
Marvel,
couple mutants at this point.
yeah, Miss Marvel,
no,
the
not
Mr.
just, I mean
Immortal.
in this film. No, in this film. I'm saying in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever film. He said he was a mutant. He didn't say his people were mutants. He said he was a mutant. But they did show how his people came to be what they are. And they were basically like ancient Mayans. So it was a good um he should have just had his name on the film. They should have gave the man credit for the great job he did, because he actually did do a good job as Namor, as far as I can tell. He did do a great job. Even the child that played, well, the kid that played him early in life did an excellent job and really didn't even say anything. Okay, but he had great screen presence as well. And the way the story was told, the story was a decent story. It wasn't the best story. I get that it can be hard to top yourself if you've already put greatness in front, but I do believe if anybody at Disney listens to this, if y'all would get out of Kevin Feige's way, I'm pretty sure he can go right back to producing the great films that he did before Disney started getting too involved in what they did and what Marvel does. Get
Well,
out of Kevin Feige's way.
well, you're talking about a corporation that attacks their fans for disapproving of their product. And one more thing, look, I'm not against new characters being introduced, but if the characters are taken away from the actual story, then it might be a bad idea. Now, Riri Williams was introduced. Okay, she is from the character, from the all new, all different Marvel, which they tried to push they tried to put the focus on more diversity by doing but by introducing new heroes that weren't exactly white males and a bunch of reskins. Riri Williams is a reskin. But when I'll say this much: when she was introduced in the film, she felt like a fresh character. But it just, I don't know how valuable she was to the story itself. I mean, a few one-liners, yeah, but maybe you guys got something different out of it. Some people actually like
Man, honestly, I think the character could be great fun, but they totally mishandled introducing her into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was one of the worst introductions they've had of a character. It's hard for me to guess off the top of my head what character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was introduced in a worse way. She wasn't necessary to the plot of this film, and they didn't really let her get any shine anyway. So they could have just saved this and let her tell her story in more detail, either a Disney Plus series or another movie where they got time to actually tell her story.
Yeah, well, she was, well, to just level with the audience, whoever watches this. She was put there to promote the Ironheart series that's coming on Disney Plus, which I think has already wrapped up filming. So y'all gonna see that any day now. Okay, Donnie, any comments on the new characters or unnecessary characters? Because there's another one that's already been introduced as unnecessary. Then we'll go ahead and close it down. Donnie, you there? Donnie's on mute. Probably just go ahead.
My bad. I dropped the phone. What was that one more time?
I said, what do you think about what do you think about the introduction of Riri Williams? Was it totally necessary for the film story? Was it a fun addition? Did it keep the story moving?
They needed to introduce her in order to fill a void, because you're gonna have action scenes that need a Black Panther, and without Black Panther, you're just not gonna have an hour worth of the Okoye fighting, basically. So yeah, it was nice. The actress herself, I wasn't a big fan of. She didn't really. Her accent just seemed funny. She's supposed to be from Chicago, but she sounded more like she was from Philly. But I see why they introduced her, because they're supposed to be having a radio show. So I see why they would introduce her. I see why they would pair her with Wakanda, because her technology is essentially Tony Stark technology. Now that we don't have a Tony Stark, where else is she going to go ahead with technology? So you have to be. It was honest, because I didn't see any harm in it, but I mean, that's just where I'm at.
Okay, all righty. Yeah, just gonna go ahead and just this couple minutes just wrap this up, but just wanted to say this, and you guys can jump in and give me what y'all think of this. The biggest thing about this film was the passing of Chadwick Boseman and the shadow of King T'Challa's absence from the film. And what for me, what that was symbolic of is where was the presence of strong black men in this film? There were black men in the film that were visible, but as far as our level of importance to the story, it just didn't seem like it was there. Umbaku, he didn't really have adequate screen time. He's the biggest, strongest representation, and he gets one shotted by the fish man, which I mean somebody had to get it, but still. As a black man in particular, do I believe that this is a film that uh, black men can walk out of with their heads held high, and black boys can walk out of the theater, feeling some type of sense of representation because their favorite hero just got another film. Then, uh, from what I've observed and my own personal feelings, the answer is no, not for me. This film definitely. I mean, if you are a person that just enjoys things, then hey, you know what? You might enjoy this film. Everybody can't have the same opinion, but for me, I know that's what it is and what it symbolized. And once I really just started to sit there and think about it, then I'm just like, wow, this film is ass. But it is what it is. Not everyone thinks like me. So what about it, fellas?
My thing with this film, Killmonger was right. I think they did a lot of scatterbrain things with this film in order to try and fill in the gaps. They probably spent an entirely too long of a time writing a film that included Chadwick Boseman, and because of his untimely, death, they had to go in and then make edits in order to make stuff fit. It seems very much mix and match because they put plot lines and stories that didn't kind of make sense together. For a prime example, spoiler alert, this movie should have never happened. I don't feel like the reason that Namor came to visit them was enough to elicit a war like it did. Angela Bassett dying, you had to go with old age, weird plot points where somebody dies and the the hero of the story becomes enraged and becomes the best and is the best fighter ever. You're recycling bullshit in order to try and fill in holes. And to be honest, they probably should have went to the drawing board, rewrote this entire movie, and really gave us a movie that we deserved, or just recasted T'Challa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Now, I have a little bit of a difference of opinion. I thought the way this movie was written, that Chadwick Boseman was not really going to be much involved in this movie anyway. It didn't feel rushed. It just felt bad. Because it could have been a better story at the end of the day. And without King T'Challa being there, the Black Panther, you start looking at holes that you may not have looked at had you had an actual Black Panther star in the movie. But as far as the character of the Black Panther, he was not a star in this movie at all. He wasn't even seen in the movie. And then when you replace the Black Panther, which got replaced too early, you replaced it with a person, well, as an actress, that's just a little bit more of a role than she really needs to carry. I'm not saying that woman is not a good actress. I'm not saying she did a bad job, but she just couldn't handle the enormity of that particular role. And to see her do this early, heard that eventually Marvel would do this because in the comics, eventually the Black Panther became female. Got no issue with that. It was just too soon. Makes sense to the story at the end of the day. So Marvel missed a great opportunity, and this is 2 movies in a row that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has put out that I had no desire to go back and see a second time.
Well, this is number
So,
three for me. This is
oh,
number three for me.
my bad, my bad. Yeah, Thor Love and Thunder. Let's not forget about that one. Uh,
Yeah, what was the other one you were talking about? Doctor Strange?
I know that that's where you were going, but yeah, Love and Thunder is what I was talking about, and I was thinking about this one. I wasn't thinking about Doctor Strange, but honestly, I did not actually go back to see Doctor Strange either.
Yeah. All
It
right.
wasn't as
Well,
bad as this, though. It wasn't as bad as this.
yeah, yeah. One more thing. Okay, this is another spoiler. During the final battle scene, Shuri survives being stabbed, something that Killmonger died from. And there was a bit of a problem with that, seeing that they took the same herb. Maybe they put a MacGuffin in there, like she used her brother's DNA, so it made her
Well, no,
the heart
they
shaped
didn't.
herb more potent.
It wasn't the same herb. It was 97% chance that it would work, is what they said. But her herb was combined with the magical MacGuffin that is the Atlantic. Or what are they? Talocan herb to turn them into fishmen and T'Challa's DNA. So theoretically, that's why I looked at it as funny because she's way stronger. But that's why I looked at it like, all right, you guys are pushing it, but we don't know what the dynamic that they're trying to push with the creation of this synthetic herb. That's why I had the conversation with you before,
I'm gonna
because
just say,
initially the synthetic herb was supposed to be given by Boss, which was kind of like Moon Knight. When Moon Knight got his powers, he got it from his deity. That's how it was initially presented. But now they're saying that the vibranium is what gave the herb that ability. But go ahead.
well,
Yeah,
I was just gonna say simply that they could have just wrote a better movie, and I'm gonna just call it at that. Sometimes you
yeah,
do something and it just ain't good.
yeah. The whole thing that it was too soon to recast, but you made the film anyway, which I don't know about you guys, but that looked like a bunch of BS to me. And this is why people say stuff like woke and agenda, because you could, like, everything that people complain about, and sometimes you get tired of hearing their complaints. I mean, they're kind of present in this film, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is that everybody has their own opinion about it. Just because I didn't necessarily like it doesn't mean that Donnie is going to share in my opinion, or Roger's going to share in you know his opinion, or so on and so forth. If you're getting enjoyment out of these films, then more power to you. What I'm saying is that Marvel has fallen down a peg or two, and this end of Phase 4 right here, uh, which is this Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, is the end of Phase 4. It encapsulates everything that was wrong with Phase 4.
Well,
So,
you know what? I just want to say real quickly, if you're simply a casual fan and you don't care about the story, you'll probably like the movie. But if you're
yeah,
a Marvel Cinematic Universal fan that understands the storyline, it's probably not gonna like it that much. But I'm gonna leave it there. That's
yeah.
my final words.
All right. So we didn't hit the bootleg button. Donnie does say buy on a bargain. Go during the matinee where they're serving the $5 combo packs with the little drink and the popcorn, and just sit back. And if you looking for this to be a Black Panther film, yeah, Black Panther's in it. But if you are, especially if you read a comic book, because I remember telling one of my loved ones, like, if I had never read a comic book, I probably would have actually enjoyed this film. But seeing that I see all the symbolism in it, it kind of ruined it for me. And sometimes I wish I wouldn't like this, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So that'll be it. Anything else, fellas, before we shut it down?
I also just would like to add that had this been T'Challa as the Black Panther, he would have killed Namor at the end. But yeah, that's it. That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 What Don is referring to is, like, there was a deep, deep rivalry between not Talokan in the comic books, but Atlantis and Wakanda, and it was this is what they were kind of trying to play out on the screen. What you see on the screen here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say they failed at it, and I believe many believe that too. And it was just a disappointment. This is one of the things that I really wanted to see come to the screen, and it just didn't come off like the first film. It didn't come off like this did. As far as Shuri, Black Panther, and Namor was concerned. So, anyway, this will do it for this edition of our review and discuss Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We definitely enjoyed talking about it. You probably enjoyed talking about it more than the actual film, but you be the judge of that for yourself. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever playing in theaters all over the place. Um, Donnie, Roger, Kev, this is the Black Dimension. You have been pulled into the Black Dimension. Good luck finding your way out. Take care of yourself.